A little update for you. It started pouring down rain last night, so I didn't really get to record like I wanted to, but I have the O2 sensor bung welded in. You can see right there. That's it. And then I put the DUI distributor on. So everything I've kind of read online says that this distributor works really well with the fuel injection system, and it was recommended to me by a bunch of full-size Jeep guys, so that's what I'm going with. I'm trying to think, I did get rid of some of my old Motocraft ignition module stuff. I got rid of that. So to be honest with you, this was the first time I've ever put in one of these distributors, but basically all I did was I put the Jeep at top dead center, and then I had the contact pointing at the first cylinder right here. That's kind of like you want to start off at your base, I guess. And so now I'm gonna mark where that contact is on the distributor cap, and then I'm gonna come through and put new wires and new spark plugs in. So I want to pretty much start off with everything fresh. And something else that I decided to ditch that rear Cherokee gas tank just because it was really ugly and bulky, and I found a pretty affordable one on Amazon that I ordered, so I'm just waiting for that to come in. I have all the gas hose ran to the carburetor up here, so we're getting there. Something else that I had to do was the ground wires are completely destroyed. Well, basically all the factory wires. This one's not bad, but it's just not pretty to look at. It'll probably work for right now, but I'm probably gonna put something new on it. But I've got to get new ground cables, and then I've got to run all the wires everywhere they need to go. I got to get my ignition, and then I got the computer mounted up under there, and I'm just going through this access point right there. I'm gonna build something around that. This distributor does require a key on ignition, and I found a key on ignition wire right here, so I'm gonna splice that into this right here where it says the battery, this key on battery, and then I got a tack, so I've got to wire up a tack right there, and I think that is everything needed for this other than the spark plug wires. So it's pretty simple stuff. So in the kit, in that distributor kit, it does come with the new live wires. These are a really awesome name brand wires that we're going to be using, and it does recommend that you do put dielectric grease inside of here so there's no voltage leakage or anything like that. And then the spark plugs, I got all new AC Delco spark plugs, and it says in the paperwork that this distributor system, it likes around 0.050 spark plug gap, so I got that one. So now I'm just going to get some dielectric grease, which the live wires come with some. And what's another awesome thing is that it's labeled. So all of these live wires are labeled on both ends. And you know which end goes where. So the ends that have the ribbed on the inside, they actually go to the distributor. So, and then these will be going to the spark plug. So just make sure you don't put them on backwards or anything like that. All right, so I'm gonna get some dielectric grease and I'm gonna start putting these spark plugs in. So I've got all the distributor wires, spark plug wires where they need to go. Steven just put the injector wires on here, and we got to figure out something with the throttle cable because that is not going on here. And this, I don't think this is a factory throttle cable, but we've got to go around and figure out all the vacuum lines and everything before we can test fire this thing. That way it don't just start bucking like a Bronco and revving to the moon. But you can see like we still got some vacuum lines that we got to put on, and I think that's it. We did try the fuel pump and it did come on, so I think I'm just going to put a gas can in the back for right now, just to see if we can test fire it. Whew, it's a lot of work. All right, so we think we got everything as close to being able to crank it as possible. So I think we're gonna try to click it and see if we can even get the starter to engage. Here, hold this a second. Starter will even engage. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Oh God, that hurt a little, but I'm all right.
Crap. All right, so we come to figure out we had spliced the computer to a wire that lost power whenever in cranking. So the computer has to have power with ignition on and while cranking, and a lot of the resources or a lot of the accessories lose power during cranking. You got a fire extinguisher?
Yeah.
All right, here goes nothing. All right, test number 6. Let's see what we got.
Ain't got no gas in it.
We'll try it again. All right. We got the Jeep where it will crank up and stay running for a couple of seconds. I think we're just a little bit out of time. We are a lot of bit out of gas, so I'm gonna have to go get some gas whenever the gas stations open up. Right now it is 4:32 in the morning. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to wait until I can go and get the kids breakfast and get some more gas. But I'm gonna work on getting the front seat in the Jeep. Full disclosure, I've got about an hour and a half of sleep. And if I do start talking crazy, I apologize. I haven't really slept at all tonight. So, all right, let's get to work. I have the seat in and I have the license plate floor in. So these brackets I actually had to rob off of my J10 project because these are the original Cherokee Chief brackets. And as you can see, they are no longer any good. So I had to, unfortunately, I had to take apart from the I had to take 2 of those from the J10 and put in here, but I think it'll be all right. That seat definitely ain't going nowhere now. So I did kind of had to fabricate some little pieces to go basically through the rust to get to the good metal, but I did find good metal and then I braced it up underneath and bolted it down just like I did the roll cage and the passenger seat over there. So just kind of doing some extra bracing around the rust And then obviously with the floors, I just kind of just did some self-tappers and just went right along. But honestly, I think the floors look awesome. Super pumped about that. And then I actually cut a little strip of a license plate out and covered up that rust hole and then popped a BJ's off-road sticker on that one. So good to go there. Man, this thing is coming right along. So I'm gonna get inside and get washed up and take my kids to get breakfast and get some gas to start testing this thing. And that's probably what I'm gonna be doing the whole rest of the day, is getting this thing running the way that it should. All right, so kind of a big update. I got the front end back together. Steven kind of went through and found some vacuum lines that we had mismatched. And I think now we're going to try to back the Jeep out of the shop under its own power for the first time. So I'm pleased to announce that it was just really extremely low on automatic transmission fluid. So now I'm going to attempt to back it out of the shop.
It's alive!
Dead plates is finally outside. Holy crap. I cannot believe it. It actually backed out of the shop by itself once I got all of my mistakes figured out, which that honestly took the longest. I still have a ton of work to do to this thing. I still got to re-gear the axles, put lockers in those. I got to redo the suspension, the shocks, stuff like that. We got to do some other odds and ends. I'm gonna put a new water pump and new belts and everything on it, but man, it just feels so awesome to have this thing outside and getting to see it other than just in the shop. It looks so nuts. Oh yeah, and I got to put that fuel cell in. Right now I just got a little mini fuel cell, but it works. It works. Looks so cool. And I really dig the license plate interior. I know a lot of people don't, but I really dig that. That looks so cool. Like 48 hours ago, this thing wasn't running or cranking or doing anything at all. And now it backs out of the shop. Look at that. I still got to clean out the interior, and I got to get the fans and everything on. And I got to get all of my fuse block, got to get the fuse block mounted and stuff like that on the firewall. But that stuff's not really important to me right now. I need to get my headlights working too. Looks like it's about to storm. Oh no. I don't want my floors to get wet and start rusting. LOL. So I got the Jeep back in the shop, and I did go ahead and do some wiring a little bit here and there. But something that I noticed was I'm pouring out brake fluid back there, so I definitely need to check out what is leaking. There's cinnamon roll. But I got these Autumn and her friend Scarlett in the shop too.
So,
what are y'all doing?
I'm just thinking of an idea for my YouTube channel.
Okay. Hey, y'all are both wearing purple. What's your shirt say, Autumn?
Jesus loves you.
Oh. So I did some wiring on the parking lights, and check this out. So whenever you turn the key forward, the parking lights come on. And then I've got the headlights. What do y'all think of the headlights?
They're like bright, and when I take my eyes with it.
So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the rear driver tire off and see what's going on. You hear that frog? You hear that frog?
Is that a frog?
That's a frog.
What the heck?
But I'm gonna take that rear tire off and see what's going on and see why that the brake system is leaking, because the brakes really weren't feeling good yesterday whenever I was driving the Jeep. You are so sweet. But so I'm going to go ahead and take that rear tire off and we'll see what's going on there. So I found what the issue was. It was the wheel cylinder for the brake system on the drum brakes, which is this cylinder right here. And I don't know if you'll be able to see how bad it's leaking, but it is pretty much, I mean, you can see it. A while ago it was dripping out. So, yep, I'm going to try my best not to break all the bolts, trying to get this off. But I got them loosened, but now I've just got to detach the brake line from it right there. I know it's super dark, I'm sorry. But I'm gonna try to get that brake line off and then see if I can get a new one of these tomorrow. Always something. So I got that wheel cylinder off and cleaned it up. That way I can take it to the local auto parts store and hopefully they will have one on the shelf. These things are notorious for leaking and acting up and just being absolute garbage. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably go and get 2 of them while I'm at it for the other side whenever it starts leaking. It is the next day and I did go to my local O'Reilly's and got a couple of wheel cylinders. I went ahead and got 2 of them because they had them in stock. Now I'm going to go ahead and see if I can put all this back together, and then I'll maybe try to do the other side and see if we can get these brakes working and not to leak anymore. And in other news, I did try to clean up my shop a little bit. It's like a huge win. Look how clean it is in here. You can actually walk. This is awesome. All right, sorry about the terrible lighting. For some reason, it's like super dark on camera. The wheel cylinder will go back in the way that you took it out. So there's just this little opening right here. I'm gonna come in here and clean that up as good as I can. So now I'm gonna take the bolts that I took off the back and tighten that up. Drum brakes are the simplest and most complex design I've ever seen. So now I'm just gonna start putting all these springs back together. All right, so the gas tank just came in and I know what you're thinking. Why aren't you using that super safe 5-gallon gas can that wasn't even strapped down? I know it was just too safe for me to run, but I've got this fuel cell right here from Amazon and I have no idea what's in this box. There's like 30 stickers on it that say made in China, so let's see what we got. All right. That don't look bad. I think this is a 20-gallon tank right here, and this is going to be a lot easier to store stuff around versus a factory gas tank out of a Jeep or something like that. So I think it's made out of all aluminum, and it's pretty light. Got 2 ports right here. They just look like your typical AN fittings. So I just got to get some adapters, some barbs or something like that. And then it's got tabs right there to bolt it on with. So it looks like it has a little gully right there, almost like a little sump part. So I may have to build this up off of the floor a little bit, about like that. Well, I guess that's what I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna make something to build that up with. So it's a couple of hours later, I had to go help out with my church doing VBS. Let me show you what I found before I went. I found some of the nicest galvanized metal that I could find, and I think that'll be perfect to mount right here for the gas tank, the bolt tube. So what I plan on doing is mounting this somehow to the body of the Jeep, and then I will mount the gas tank to this. So it's pretty simple and pretty average walled. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, so I'm not adding a bunch of weight back here, but then again, I'm putting something back here that will hold the gas tank and not just rip out and start a massive forest fire when I'm in the mountains. So we got Key working on the dead plates here. And we got Patrick over there working on dirt bikes. So I stupidly forgot that we have to put rubber in between the metal and the aluminum tank. Key reminded me of that once we had it all tight and torqued down. But so now Key's just going back and putting some rubber in between the metal and the aluminum. Huge update, got the gas tank all plumbed in, and then check this out. Got the air cleaner on, so I had to get a K&N air filter. It is, I think it's the 1260 series air cleaner. I did have to push in the top for it to screw on. And then something else I did was I got the electrical fans ran. I used a fan shroud and electric fans from a 1992 Ford Contour. I just got it off Amazon and got it wired in. And I'll show you my little switch right here. Then I got to show you one more thing that I did. This is pretty cool. Check it out. Yeah. So I don't know if you remember in my videos, I used to have this J10 tailgate. So I found this J10 tailgate scabbed out at someone's house, and they let me have it. I got it home, painted it, and then my dad made this little trim piece around it. So I found a piece of diamond plate that fit perfectly, and that way it can cover up the gas tank right there, and I can keep my tools back there. So it's pretty strong. I like it. I feel like it definitely fits the build. The diamond plate definitely fits the Teleco vibes. So to be 100% honest and transparent, I had to put the camera down because I had to get to work. I really didn't have time to film. I'm trying to make it to an event tomorrow morning. It is a local event. It's the Goldsboro Police Department puts on a Jeep show and shine every year, and they raise money for the Special Olympics in that area, and they invited me to come out, and this year I think I'm going to try to get this out there. I still have a ton of work I have to do to it, but I feel like it would be super cool to be able to really push myself and try to get this to its very first event. So that's probably what we're going to do. I'm going to do a couple of more things. I got to bleed the brakes. So I'm probably about to do that, and then hopefully in the morning she'll crank right up, and then we can load it up on the trailer, and we're heading to Goldsboro. So we made it to the event in Goldsboro, trailered the Dead Plates Jeep, and then Key drove Beef Cheeks there. But it's a pretty cool event. It's for a good cause, and we're gonna walk around and check out some of the Jeeps. Well, we had a pretty successful time here at the Special Olympics Jeep event. I actually won Mayor's Choice Award for the Jeep on dead plates here, so that's pretty awesome that out of all the Jeeps here, the mayor chose mine. So this is basically the key to the cities. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate y'all watching. If you don't mind, hit that like button and make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any other content. I'm gonna be getting dead plates back in the shop as soon as I can. I got to do the gears, lockers, I got to do some timing work on it, and then I've got to figure out my suspension plans and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see y'all next time.